Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Terrence.
What's up?
All right, guys, we are back. This is episode 259, American Fiction. This is a review of the movie. So this is the fact I have to say it is crazy.
You still gotta say that.
Still do. So American Fiction is the 2023 comedy drama film written and directed by Cord Jefferson and starring Jeffrey Wright, Issa Rae, I'm trying to make sure I get it right, Tracy Ellis Ross, John Ortiz, and of course Sterling K. Brown. So the general premise of this is a sort of struggling writer played by Jeffrey Wright is put into a predicament where he then decides that he is going to take on a pseudonym or pen name and write a book that is very much the opposite of the style of writing that he normally does. He kind of writes like a hood book, even though he's kind of very much against those type of books. So he writes more of a Quan Mills type story versus the other stuff he normally does. And then, shenanigans ensue and, there's a lot to talk about here. I'll start with you, Micah. You saw this movie before the two of us. So what are your general thoughts?
Yeah, I really like the movie. Look, it's nice that Jeffrey Wright is finally being recognized for the really great actor that he is.
It only took 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. Quite frankly, it's just, it kind of sucks that this movie came out in the same year a Nolan movie came out. Because I would love to have seen Jeffrey Wright just kind of get officially recognized with an award, but whatever. The whole cast is really great. I like that the movie is not is more than just what we thought it would be. This movie is a family drama, and the thing that the movie marketed itself on is kind of the B story. But I didn't mind it. I think what they did with the racial, black book stuff was fun. It was spot on. I think they had a healthy balance of that and the family drama. But this movie is about this person. This movie isn't wholly about how we are perceived in the media. But it is half that, and I appreciated both halves, and I'll get into it later on.
Okay, Terrence, your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw it a couple last month. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Jeffrey Wright, like he said. I don't know if he deserved the Oscar, but he deserved the nomination. He definitely deserved the nomination. No, it's great. It's like Micah said, it's the family drama, and the book stuff is, to me, the book stuff is the comedy, and the family drama is just like a regular, it's a family drama. Doesn't do anything like spectacular, but it's just the way in which they do it that's kind of clever. Like you said, everybody's great. It's just a good movie. It's just good. all of the performances are great. Story's good. I did hear some people didn't really like the ending. The ending is it's kind of like a hate it or love it type thing.
The ending is a cop out. Like it is. Like I didn't mind it as much, but it's a way to get 3 endings in one ending, and I understand that it's a bit of a cop out, but I get it. I get it, and ultimately I am satisfied with how it ended, and that's That's all I can really ask for a movie, right? Because they run through the different scenarios, and it's like, all right. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? And this is this is the typical ending for a movie like this. This is a sappy ending, and which would be like incredibly predictable. And this last one is ridiculous.
Yes.
So they give you all three of them, and I guess you can just pick which one you want.
Yeah,
Right.
To an extent.
right. Like I thought the ending, and I'll talk about my general thoughts on it too. But I thought the ending was also indicative of you can't end this conversation properly, right? Because one, it's a never ending sort of thing, right? But it's also no one would be satisfied with an ending, right? Because if you he gives the big speech about da 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 da, it feels way too preachy, right?
It's corny. It's corny.
It seems corny, right? If you sidestep that and do sort of the romantic ending, then that seems like, why are we here?
Also kind of corny.
Kind of corny, right? So I think their way of doing that was kind of like there are no options, and I don't want to spoil the third one until we get there because it's so insane. But there are no real clean options of doing this. So the best option to do is to kind of lampoon all of your options and just go, like you said, you choose one. They're all very silly because it's sort of the idea of the destination is the thing that you care about, not so much or rather the journey is what you care about, and not so much the destination, right?
Right.
And actually, I thought there's two moments that are really the pinnacle of the film, right? It's not the ending. To me, the true pinnacle of the film is the moment he has to have the conversation with Issa Rae's character. That's actually, to me, the real pinnacle of the story, because you're like, now let's challenge these two points of view, which I thought was interesting. I would actually, if any criticism, I would say I wanted that to be a longer scene, like to kind of really go at it a little bit more. So yeah, my general thoughts on it is very good. Jeffrey Wright is very good in it. Yeah, I agree. I don't know that it's like an Oscar award-winning performance. I do think from a writing perspective, it definitely deserved it. Like, I think the writing on it is quite good. All the acting is good to great. I mean, when is Tracee Ellis Ross really bad in anything? She's not. When is Sterling K. Brown bad in anything? He's not. And when is Jeffrey Wright bad in anything? He's not. Like, so they really kind of nailed those three principal characters. And then, the mom and the sort of the housekeeper, they were all like, felt like really sincere characters. What I liked about all of the characters is, shocking news, none of them are stereotypes. None of them are.
They felt real.
They felt like real
Eric
people.
Alexander was great. Like, it was good to see Eric Alexander. I ain't seen her anything in fucking 20 years.
Yeah, I loved.
It's been a very long time, dude.
I loved when she was like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" A lawyer. I was like, "So we're just picking up from Living Single? Is that what we're doing?" Like, Maxine hasn't changed all these years. But yeah, no, it is nice to see her. I wish she would be in more things. I actually really enjoy seeing her and stuff. I had the biggest thing for her on Living Single. My God, good luck. I think everybody did, if we're being honest. So yeah, it's a good movie. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. So and also Issa Rae was very good in it too. I liked her a lot, and I found every white person in this movie to be incredibly irritating, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do. So
yeah, they were. That's how I view.
They were very authentic.
yeah,
They
also felt incredibly real. It's like, what are we even saying right now, guys? This is wild. So yeah, let's get into it. The movie opens up. We meet Thelonious Ellison. He goes by Monk. If you don't understand that reference, that's sad. But so he's teaching what seems like a college course, a literary course about the American South. And so he's written on the board the name of a book called I think it's called The Artificial Nigger by somebody. I can't see the first name. And he has a white student there who's like, that word is offensive to me. Why do we have to have this word up there? And, look, these are college-age kids, right? This is the exact conversation you'd expect in a college course. White people being like overly fucking offended by everything. And, like a black man going, yeah, I got over it. I'm sure you can get over it too. And then she storms out of the room, which was hilarious. But like, I couldn't help but think in this like very easy opening moment, which I thought was funny. I've seen people say, like in an academic conversation, like you can't use the word. I find that to be very weird to me. I'm like,
who can't use the word?
Like anybody. Like no one should use it in an academic setting. If you're talking about like you talk about like this book or whatever, like
you got to say the N word.
No, but if you're having a conversation about these words and stuff like that, it's like you shouldn't say it at all. I'm like, you're having an academic conversation about racism. I think it's okay to just, in my opinion, I think it's okay to say the word. You're not calling.
If you're white, I might smack the shit out you if you say.
See,
it.
I mean, like if you're having an academic conversation about music, you're just gonna let them say "niggers in Paris"?
Okay, I think that's a little different. One, why is that song in an academic conversation at all?
A serious academic conversation about music, right?
Fine. You know what? Fair enough. You know what? Fair enough. I'm just saying. I don't like her perspective of not even wanting to see the word. I think is a little ridiculous. Like I think it's absolutely insane. And I think he's trying to go after like this idea of you being so easily offended by a thing that doesn't even affect you. Like.
Yeah, I know. I'm giving you.
Oh
shit.
No. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. That's fine. By all means. So she storms out. Yeah, I don't want to hear white people say niggers in Paris. Like that's not incidentally. Didn't Gwyneth Paltrow tweet that at one point? And people were like, what? Like
she was like, oh yeah, my favorite song is "Niggers in Paris" by Kanye West and Jay-Z or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like. Nah, don't do that.
Shut up, Goop.
You don't get that pass. You definitely don't get that fucking pass.
No, you're the whitest person on the planet.
Like, don't do that ever.
Nah. It's you and Nicole Kidman. You're the two whitest women on the planet. Not gonna lie. So he gets brought in by, I guess, the rest of his like sort of people in his department. These three white people, and they're just like, yeah, you gotta chill. Like you can't say shit like that to students. And he goes, yeah, this is an isolated incident. He goes, they remind him that he asked a German student, was his family Nazis? And they were like, you can't say that. He was like, well, he was squirming in the chair. I'm pretty sure his family was fucking Nazis, which I just thought was funny.
Are you not allowed to ask that?
I mean, I guess it seems offensive.
I don't think you're allowed to ask that in Germany. But
70 years ago, yeah, ain't that long ago.
It really isn't. Like
I'm just saying, it's very possible that your great grandfather was a Nazi.
I mean,
Arnold your grandfather was a Nazi.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad was a Nazi. Like he was a Nazi. Yeah, he was. Like he talks about that. He's like, yeah, he's like kind of a piece of shit. like yeah, he was. I mean, then we have a pope who used to be in the Nazi youth, for God's sake. Like that's very real. So yeah, he basically gets told he needs to take a leave of absence because basically he's controversial because he'll just push it out there.
Say whatever.
Yeah, he'll just write nigger on the board. And so these white people are mad at him. But it's all like all of this is it's sort of like goofball banter, right? Like it's not really that serious. So he's still trying to he has to go to Boston for work, and he's trying to get his book published, but nobody's really up for it because it's probably some heady academic shit, and they're not interested. So
people don't like to read. Get out of
here. I can't read. I can't. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to read fucking. I read like. Actually, I do read like, and if I'm able to. I read some wild shit. It's like I might, depending on what this book is about. Like the book he wrote, I probably would.
Right. Now, if you're reading about like black people in insane asylums, like, well, then there you go. That's right up your alley.
It's fascinating.
But
That's fucking fascinating, man.
I mean, it kind of is, yo, because like it anyway. Yeah. No, look, people don't read books, especially like really heady academic books.
No.
Nah, that's
Like I read, but I read
they're gonna
junk.
be bestseller.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that time.
Bestsellers nonsense from
I remember that time we were on a plane, and I was like, "Michael, what are you reading?" And it was like Egyptian gods fighting the military or some dumb shit you were.
Yeah. It was. It was.
It was so stupid.
It was basically Gears of War, but like fighting the Greek pantheon.
And this shit made no sense. I was like, yo, just put a cover on this book. Like, tell people this is War and Peace. Like, nah, fuck that. Most people just read for light pleasure. Most people don't want to read sort of heavy shit. And apparently my go-to shit is about murder. Like, I'm really into thrillers and like Kiss the Girls and all that other shit. Like, that for some reason really interests me. I'm like, oh, is it a Hannibal Lecter story? Cool, great, I'll read it. So he goes to Boston. He goes to this book convention, and he's there, and like he's on this panel, which they didn't even spell his name right. But he's on this panel, and they're not getting that much traction. There's not that many people there, and he finds out that
8 people there.
yeah, they don't give a shit about their books, and he finds out that their panel is going on at the same time as this other woman's panel. This woman, played by Issa Rae. What is it? She wrote a book. Her name is Santara Golden. She wrote a book called "Weeze Lives in the Ghetto."
Like, this is ridiculous.
It's utterly ridiculous. And so he goes over to the panel, and there's all these people there, black, white, and all this. And Issa Rae is, saying how when she first got into the industry, she basically was reading books for this publisher, like finding drafts of books and seeing which ones were good and passing them up to her boss. But she noticed that there were no black books, right, by black authors representing, the black community in general. And so that's where she was sort of inspired to write her book, Weeze Lives in the Ghetto, which just sounds weird to even try to say. And so the white woman who's running the panel is like, could you give us could you read an excerpt from the book? Now, keep in mind, her character speaks like perfect diction, completely articulate person, and then she reads this book, and it sounds like the title. Girl, you got pregnant again? Like, it's fucking all over the place. It's just ridiculous. And meanwhile, Jeffrey Wright's character, Monk, is standing in the back, and he's just like, what the fuck am I listening to? Like he's so mad, right? And this is like a bestseller. You've got all these people cheering this book on and everything else. And he's furious.
Also, I refuse to believe that a book with this dialogue would be that thick. Like,
okay, that is completely fair. That is completely fair.
That's offensive.
Is it? Well, it may be offensive, but it's fucking accurate. So,
you know what else is offensive? She's reading this yabba dabba do speak, and all these white women are standing up applauding it. Like, all right.
Well,
yeah, but
and I get it. It's meant to be offensive, guys.
Right.
I get it.
Y'all niggas
Right.
about to get some
But-
I'm not saying anything.
look.
Y'all niggas get offensive.
Well, guess what? I'm about to be a little bit more offensive, because if you notice when she reads the book, it's like you're reading the dialogue, but you're also reading sort of the general narration of the book. Like,
Yeah.
Susan said XYZ, right? But when she says something like Susan asks blah 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 question, she says X. Like, even the narrative of the story is all written poorly. Like, it's fucking wild. So I just thought when she was reading, I just caught that and I just started laughing my ass off. I just thought that was so funny. But yeah, I want to stop here, like in the movie, and talk about like your general thoughts on like this idea of having a black intellectual person writing books like this that are clearly not their voice. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think the Jack Daniels analogy is perfect for this. That we'll get to later on in the film, but we look.
It wasn't Jack.
We
go ahead.
What else? I don't know.
It was Johnny Walker. I know. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, teetotaler. Go ahead.
All right, Johnny Daniels, black. I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn. The point is like it is okay for us to make. I won't call it trash. I will call it jelly bean media. Right? It's perfectly fine for us to make that. Right? Just like it's perfectly fine to eat jelly beans. You just don't want your entire diet to be all jelly beans, right? Yeah. You need diversity in thought and art and most importantly, you need to know everyone needs to know that black people can make more than just jelly bean media, right? Like that's the issue, and that's what he's talking about in this movie. He thinks that, but he's coming at it from the more pompous end of it, right? Like,
I think he thinks that. I think that.
Right, he's a dick.
Right, I think Monk doesn't think that shit needs to exist at all.
And it does need to exist. There just needs to be a balance. There just needs to be a balance, right? Like you posted on YouTube the fact that we were reviewing this movie, and someone commented a very thoughtful comment that said, this is why I listen to this show, because I've seen 11 million reviews on Mea Culpa and nobody's reviewing American fiction. I haven't seen one review from black people on American fiction. And we have a balance. And that's what you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be able to watch stuff like this. You're supposed to be able to look at ridiculousness like Tyler Perry. If you like them both, fine. If you don't, fine. But like they have the right to exist. All right. Other people make garbage, and they are able to just make it and sometimes be awarded for it. Like this is or awarded or rewarded. And this is, we can do this. We there's a balance. That's all.
Terrence, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like her character, like she talks about it towards the end of the movie. I guess, like, again, you guys was like clowning the vernacular. I'm not going to do that because some people actually do talk like that. I don't know why, but it still exists. Like people still talk like that.
I'm from Baltimore. I will talk shit about how anybody talk because I say due to you, food, like no.
Father, all that
mother. It's like country Cockney slang. Mother, brother. What the fuck?
We have a surprisingly British accent that's just really weird.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to us.
Bizarre fucking accent. That's so weird. But yeah, you, like people talk like that, and like she says towards the end, I did research. I'm like, what the hell research did you do? This is not exactly like rocket science. I don't. Like,
yeah, she's sort of a weird interloper in that world too, right?
She's kind of like. So she said you don't have to write what you like. Some people say write what you know. Sometimes you don't have to do that. And apparently, writing shit that people, fucking white folks in this country, like this is the type of shit that gets like the bestseller. Like take Precious for example. That movie is very depressing.
It's extremely depressing.
Monique won a fucking Oscar for it.
No, granted, her performance was pretty goddamn phenomenal. It was.
I don't know how much of a performance it was, but
well, I mean, she might have been being herself.
She won the Oscar for it. But no, she deservedly so. It was great. Yeah. But I'm not talking about her performance. I'm talking about the actual movie in general. Itself.
Yeah,
like just everything that's going on in that movie. Like I don't know if that book was a bestseller that it came from, but like that's the type of shit that we get. Like that's what they think we are. And like, if that's what makes you money, so be it. But like you said, maybe balance that shit out. I don't know if she writes intellectual books, if this character writes intellectual books as well, because clearly she like graduated from a high prestigious college and shit like that. So she has the ability to do so, but like if no one's reading it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation to be had, right? Which we'll probably have multiple times over this course of this episode. But like that idea of if you do that sort of high-minded stuff, more people tend to not see it. You tend not to make as much money. And how do you balance that as a person of color, as a black person very specifically, with do you have a responsibility to take less money to do work that pushes us forward, or is it every man for themselves type of thing, right? But at the expense of us, right? Because there's a conversation, and I want to save some of it for that conversation she has with Monk later on, because that scene is so fucking good. But he literally has a point. He goes, "But that's what drug dealers justify what they do, right?
Yeah.
They're just giving people what they want, but you're doing it at the expense of destroying the community that you live in."
Take this movie in and of itself, for example. Like this isn't one of those. This isn't one of those books. This is one of those movies. This movie made $23 million. Did better than, I don't know what they expected the movie to do. It made $23 million, but it wasn't seen by a lot of people, not even black folks.
Right.
It's an excellent movie, but like, I don't know that many people outside of this circle of people that I like speak with that saw it.
Yeah,
but everybody saw fucking Mea Culpa. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and you had to work to see this movie, right? Because this movie was not playing. I had to go to DC to watch this movie, and
there's a limited release,
right? And I had to. Everybody got Netflix.
Yeah.
And that's one of the issues too, man. Like you said, like they will the low hanging fruit is very easy to access. It just is.
Yeah.
And
it's real easy. It's real easy to get jelly beans versus a fucking four course meal, right? Like it's to your example. It's way easier.
It is, right? You go you can get an Arizona tea anywhere for less than $1, right?
It's on the can. The price is on the can.
But a bottle of water is like $1.29 or some shit. Like,
that's fucking crazy.
One'll rot your fucking teeth and your insides. That one's the cheapest.
Oh,
of course.
my God.
Of course. I mean, go to any grocery store, right? But like,
yeah.
But okay, here's a prime example of like a weird thing that's happening in social media at the same time, right? There's this whole new thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where black people are going on like, I don't know, TikTok or fucking Instagram or any of those, and they're doing these videos saying like, as a black person, I hate to admit it, ... And then they say like, I'm afraid of like other thugs, or I'm afraid to go to the, like, basically, hey, like, did you guys know that as a black person, I'm a human and we're in fact not a monolith, and I like things that are different than you stereotypically white people believe that I like, or that I'm afraid of or enjoy or whatever, right? And somebody posted, this black woman posted a video. I wish I had her name. I would give her a shout out, but she was like, she started a video with the same starting phrase that all these people are using, and she goes, "Now that I got your attention, this is fucked up, and here's why," right? And basically what I'm saying, and the algorithm is pushing that. People are getting tens of millions of views because they're saying this, and it's like, oh, look, like this idea of like showing that black people are regular human beings, and that in fact there is a balance of our views on different topics. But it's a strange thought process to white people. Like it's just bizarre to me. Like what a bizarre sort of moment on like in social media showing exactly what this is. That they think, hey, all we do is eat jelly beans, so wow, holy shit, they eat regular food? Like it's we're people, like just like anybody else. So but yeah, the entire thing with the Centaur Golden character is interesting. Like she's sort of an unsung hero in this movie in a lot of ways. So back in Boston, Monk goes to he goes to see his family. He sees his sister, played by Tracy Ellis Ross, and they're just having like general kind of catch up time, and I think Tracy Ellis Ross was a great choice for this. By the way, she's very funny. I don't know if she wrote she should have. It felt like she wrote that eulogy later on in the movie.
like legitimately wrote that shit up.
It was good. But they're sort of catching up, and they go back to their mother's house.
Now she works at Planned Parenthood. That's kind of important. I
didn't catch that.
Family does. Yeah, she works at Planned Parenthood. He's got to go through a metal detector.
That's
the door.
Okay, that's why that was. Okay, that's the part I missed. I was like, that's weird for just a hospital. Okay, so she works at Planned Parenthood. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And like his siblings are doctors, and his father was also a doctor.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that comes into play with his family.
And he has a doctorate, but in writing. Right?
They're like actual doctors.
Actual medical doctors. His brother has the best line. It's like I'm a doctor, you're a doctor too. It's like, yeah, not that type of doctor. We'll call you if we need to revive a sentence. Which is a great fucking line. Like, fuck out of here. So he goes to visit his mom, and his mom, and she's got sort of a housekeeper that they've had since they were kids.
Realize that they were well-to-do.
Yeah,
like you realize he grew up well-to-do. Like they got a house,
sort of upper middle class,
a big house, and a beach house,
Yeah, you're doing. You guys are doing just fine.
You're fine.
And so like the mom sort of forgets that the sister got divorced, so they sort of have a conversation. Monk and his sister have a conversation, and it's basically like, look, I think mom is like, I think maybe she's having some sort of memory loss and stuff like that. So this should be a concern. Then we see Monk go to a bookstore, and he gets pissed off because his book is in the African American Studies section. Even though it has nothing to do with African American studies, but just because he's black. And so he takes all the books and move them to a different section.
The scene before that, he was watching. Did you recognize the movie he was watching?
No.
Either one of you? He was watching Get Rich or Die Trying.
I've never seen that.
50 Cent movie. Oh, you never seen it? Where the guy was talking about crack, and now it's a. You never seen? Neither one of you seen that movie?
Oh, that's Adabisi.
I've never seen Get Rich or Die Trying. No.
Yeah, it's Adabisi from us.
I don't need a lot of candy, guys.
Okay.
Nigga, you the ice cream.
All right.
Fuck off.
all right, buddy. This nigga came through with one of the wildest Tubi suggestions I've ever seen. Get the fuck out of here. Rejected. I was like, no, we're not doing that.
I didn't watch it. To be fair, I didn't watch it.
No, you saw that scene. You've seen that scene more than once.
I saw that scene, but I didn't watch the movie.
What's the one that I watched?
The Asian woman.
Yeah, I watched
the one that you watched that movie. Yeah, you got an ironclad stomach, nigga. Like you.
Terrence eats nothing. Terrence eats a lot of garbage. In his free time. Get the fuck out of here. But look, that scene is actually really good, right? This idea of just because he's a black author, it needs to go under African American studies. Like, is it about academics? Like, if it's about black academics, that's fine. But or a history of African Americans or something like that.
It was because later, like, what's the name? Asked, like, he's like, "Oh, you read my book?" And she's like, "Yeah, the characters." So it's a work of fiction.
Yeah, it don't
have. Why the fuck is it under African American studies?
Because but that happens in bookstores all the time. You black, like that's where it goes.
Oh, all right.
Because again, we are seen as a monolith, like whether we would like to be or not, which obviously we would not like to be. And yeah, that's Monk's entire point. And then he, of course, sees there is a big display for We's Live in the Ghetto.
He lives in the ghetto. Like,
Yeah, it's a wild title. By Santara Golden, his unannounced nemesis of this movie. But it's like the sort of the little blurbs of it is it's a triumph. All that glitters is golden, searing and savage. We Lives in the Ghetto is a heartbreaking and visceral debut. So yeah, it's her debut novel, by the way. So yeah, I guess she doesn't write anything else, or it hasn't. So while out to lunch, and they're talking about their mom's condition, Tracy Ellis Ross's character has a heart attack.
Boy, this is a real
what
gut.
the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's playing. Oh, she's not playing. Oh, she'll be fine. Funeral. Like, god damn. Like, okay.
Yeah, that shit caught me all the way off guard. I'm like, huh? Yeah. So she's only in the movie for 15 minutes? Oh, okay.
That was it. Yeah, so she unfortunately dies. And look, if you haven't seen the movie, you should go back and listen to the eulogy that that Monk he reads her sort of like a letter that she wrote that she wanted read at her funeral. It's very funny. She basically was like, hopefully I died under the heavy thrust of a sweaty Idris Elba, or perhaps to a less dignified manner, under the heavy thrust of a sweaty Russell Crowe.
Like, Russell Crowe, like, that's wild.
Like maybe back in the Gladiator days. What's that movie he was in where he was a fucking deranged psycho?
Unhinged.
Unhinged, yeah. That's the Russell Crowe. That's the Russell Crowe.
Maybe I do eat a little bit of candy sometimes.
Look, your teeth can take it. It's all right. Like sometimes you got to. That movie was so fucking insane. But yeah, she writes this letter. It's really heartfelt actually, but it's also funny. And you meet his other brother, Cliff, or you meet his brother who's at the funeral. It's Cliff, played by Sterling K. Brown. And so he's there, and this moment is like, again, funny but very heartfelt and everything else. How does she end it? One of my greatest achievements is that people often accuse me of having Botox because my face is the skin on my face is still very tight even as I get into my 50s or some shit like that, which was just great. And so it's this heartfelt moment, and then they go to pour her ashes into the ocean. And this white guy comes back and he's like, excuse me, is that human remains? And Cliff was like, yo, shut the fuck up. Yo. Like, you want me to beat your ass? I was like, oh, all right, sorry. It's like, I'll eat your sweater. Get out of here. So to just sort of break up those kind of super serious moments. And so Cliff and Monk have they actually have to have a conversation, right? And because they really haven't. And, he's talking about like their relationship with their father and stuff like that, which kind of Tracy Ellis Ross's character kind of talked about as well, which kind of pulled them apart as siblings. Her and Cliff had a good relationship, but Monk and the other two did not have, were not that close. So, yeah, it's an interesting sort of family dynamic. Then they find their mother is sitting next to the bathtub. It's pouring over because she's having what we find out later is an Alzheimer's moment. She's just kind of frozen sitting there after losing her daughter, which is really fucking sad, obviously. And so they take her to the doctors to get examined. And of course, you find out later that she has Alzheimer's. Then we meet the neighbor across the street, Coraline, and she's, she says a really kind of funny, fucked up line. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know anybody lived in that house. I thought it was haunted. I heard somebody blew their brains out there a couple of years ago." And he's like, "Yeah, Like that was clearly his dad. And she's like, "Oh shit, my bad. I'm a fucking idiot. Sorry about that." And then she invites him in to kind of apologize and like have a drink or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just looking at because you're right. I haven't really seen Erica Alexander in a lot of things, and lately, and I mean she's been getting work. I guess it's just stuff that I haven't bothered to look at. But the last thing I remember her in was Get Out, and she played one of the detectives in Get Out.
Yeah, she was a detective. I forgot all about that.
I did not remember her in that until you just said that. That's wild. I did not notice that.
I've always liked Erica Alexander. I think she's a good person, and I enjoy her acting. I wish I would see her in more stuff.
Remember, we met her at Comic-Con that one year.
Yeah, she was cool. She was cool with that.
She was walking around.
Yeah, she was just walking around. I think she had a comic book or something. She was kind of promoting or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But her character is getting a divorce, I guess, from Jaylani, who looks like one of them dudes that was, 25 in 1985, right? Like looks super old, but like probably not that old.
Probably not.
And the next scene is Monk and his brother, and they're like, "Hey, money, you think you can help out, doctor?" And he was like, "Nah, man, I'm things are tight, right? Like my wife is divorcing me because I'm gay and I'm attracted to men and I cheated on her and the kids hate me because like it's all out now and she divorced me and she took half my practice, so money's tight. Can't chip in on the bills." So Monk kind of has a not heart to heart, but he's like, I got to think of a way to make some money, right? And all the pressures of not publishing anything, and he's just like, you know what? And seeing Sindira, what's her name? Sitara. Seeing Sintara like just have this bestseller, and it's like, you know what? I can do that. Anybody can do that, right? Like that's what he's thinking, right? So he sits there and he writes a book. This is one of the few things that I have to critique about this movie. I wish there was more of this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Like
it was a clever way of handling this scene.
Yeah, like more of like, I wish he didn't finish my pathology so quickly, right? Like I wanted more scenes of him working things out. And yeah, he's writing My Pathology as a satirical novel to mock all the stereotypes of black writers, right? Like it's got Keith David as like this deadbeat dad, the main character who comes to who's pointing a gun at him. He's like, "Hey, nigga, don't you know who I am? You ever look at your skin? Look at your black skin. Look at your midnight black. Black as onyx." It's like, no, black as onyx. Niggas don't know and niggas think Onyx is a rap group, right? Nah, look at your dog shit ass skin, nigga. Oh, and them big old greasy lips. I'm your daddy, right? Like it's fucking ridiculous, right? And to see Keith David doing this is fucking hilarious because Keith David is the best.
Yes.
This scene is
the other dude is fucking what's his name from Hamilton. I was like, who the fuck is this dude? I've seen him before. It's Hercules Mulligan from Hamilton.
Is that right? That's
James Madison. Yeah, it's him. I'm like,
I love that he's missing an eye, but his name is Van Gogh. That's like that shit fucking made me laugh. I was like, all right, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
I's your daddy, like it or not. No, it's the truth, nigga. Like it just and it's like a little mini play, right? Like I can see this like in just like this in like one of these in like a real ghetto ass play, and
Tyler Perry play, if you will.
yeah.
Which man, they don't even pull any punches on him. By the way, in this movie,
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, they name drop his ass twice. Like, like in case you didn't know who, right? Yeah.
Dude is not a fan. Yeah. So yeah, this scene's very good because they're literally these two characters are literally in the foreground as Monk is writing them, and he'll like fuck up, and then they'll turn him like, "What you want me to say in this scene?" And he's like, "All right, hold on a second." Yeah, it was great. Like that should have been a bit like throughout the movie. Like that would have been really.
When he shoots Keith David, he was like, "The fuck you do that for?" Like, yo, that shit was fucking hilarious.
This nigga said. This motherfucker said, I see my face in him. I see the ape that all them stupid girls were afraid of. Yeah. I can see my long arms hanging down. I see my
like, yo, come on. I
was like, this is insane, dude.
Oh, man. Oh,
so good. That's funny. So yeah, after that scene,
he's watching the what is it, WHN.
Yeah, and it was like
he's sitting in a room. It's Precious. It's fucking Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, Black Stories Month. Yeah, it's like Black Stories Month on WHN. It's literally like it's like Boys in the Hood,
New Jack City, just like the worst,
Precious.
The worst scenes from all these movies.
Yeah, like, join us for more riveting cinema, heartbreak, and drama of the Black community. It's like those all have a place, but like we didn't all grow up with Boys in the Hood style neighborhoods.
Right. Like, I'm sitting there watching, like, what does WHN mean? I'm like, we hate niggas. Like, I mean,
that's probably not. Yeah,
because that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah,
I think that was the first thing. I'm like, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, you know what?
You nailed it.
I don't think those three letters were chosen at random. I think you have.
Yeah, they chose. It was purpose. Like, I don't. All right. But it's pretty funny. Like, because that's all. Like, again, that's not all we are, but like, that's what gets the eyes.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think the balance is, though? Like, what do you think the percentage of movies of like slave narrative films, hood movies, or the just sort of like the precious kind of trauma porn type films versus movies like this that are discussing like this or origin or things like that? I think it's probably like it feels like, I don't know what the statistic is, but it feels like it's like 70-30. Yeah, I'm saying 70-30.
It's
right?
pretty lopsided.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool. Go ahead. That's good.
I was saying Tubi that's like a lot of people like look at Tubi movies, and again, those movies are made for like 75 cents in like a pack of ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? So like they work with what they have, but they're all the same fucking stories. It's like everybody's from Chicago. They're all like gangster shit, and but Tubi is giving them an audience. They don't really have shit like this. They could do stuff like this on a lower budget, but like it's just that's all they do, and I don't know. Like,
do Black people find it curious, or do Black people not know who owns Tubi?
It's Fox, right?
Yeah. You don't find it curious that a an organization that often just shits on minorities like for fun for like the actual news are the same people who own this, right?
It's interesting.
Right? Like this idea of like, yeah, we promote it, but like, again, to what extent, right? Because Tubi, I would argue, is not utilized, or at least for those movies, is not utilized for white audiences. They're utilized for us, right? But the problem is that detrimental to us that so much of our media is put there, right? Or is it not? I would say because there is no balance, right? Like I would argue on Tubi, black sort of independent movies, it's got to be like 98% of them are.
Yeah, is that nonsense? This is
that nonsense,
shenanigans.
Well, it's also
like Tubi. I honestly think Tubi is like the best free streaming service.
I mean, they have a lot of shit.
There's a lot of shit on Tubi. And it's not a lot of commercial. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of stuff on Tubi, but like Tubi is famous, or at least in the circles that we are in,
infamous
for the nonsense, the shenanigans, like the Black Pud movies with all the crazy edits and like the silly shit. That's what the whole rabbit hole. You watch those movies, but then like there's a whole bunch of good shit on there. There just is, with very few commercials. Like I watched a movie the other day. There was 2 commercial breaks. It was a 2-hour movie. I was like, what the fuck? And they were like 15-second commercial breaks. It was really weird.
Yeah, not bad.
But you don't get that with any other fucking free streaming service. So it's very good, but like
it's the same playbook that Fox ran when they were a fledgling channel.
They've been doing that.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for the last 40 years. Yeah.
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 With Children is a prime example of that.
You get the lower class or minority viewers kind of hooked to build yourself up, and then you jettison them, right? So I expect Tubi to, get some bougie ass name in a few years, and
it changed
all that
its logo
stuff.
A couple weeks ago.
Well, it begins.
It changed the logo maybe like a week and a half ago. Yeah, it changed it about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
You may have called that shit right on time too. Like, and the second they build that base, then they go, oh well, we don't need you.
We don't need all the fucking Negro movies anymore. So
I don't think they'd get rid of them. I don't think they will, because if you go to Tubi, like you two don't use Tubi, but if you go to it, like the categories for Tubi, there's like 30 categories. Like you can go to the categories page, and there's like 30 categories, and they actually categorize all those movies in one category, so you don't have to go searching for them. It's a very good streaming service. Like I give it its props.
Nig-nog specials.
It's like black. I don't know what the fuck it's called. It's like
urban entertainment, of course.
Something like that, of course. But it's all like, again, like if you've seen one of those movies, you've seen all 175 of them, because they're all the same shit. They just are.
Look, I mean, the classic example
I'd like
of this.
more of it.
Yeah, like the classic example of this is the CW, right? It used to be the WB, right?
UPN,
and it used to be UPN, right? They built the U People network. They built all of that base for the UPN based on us, and then they slowly moved that shit to WB and started jettisoning all that black shit after they had a big enough audience, and then they kept a little bit of black shit, and then they were like, oh, no, we're good. Like, we got good amount of listenership. They jettisoned all that shit and moved it to the CW. And now it's all a bunch of team white people bullshit, right? So, yeah, I mean, America has a history of building on the backs of black people for literally fucking labor, but also the entirety of the country. But even in a microcosm, they do it on television, too. They quite literally do. I wouldn't be surprised if Tubi gets gentrified and gets a nice little rebrand in a couple of years. I wouldn't be. If they get enough, if the numbers are big enough, they absolutely will switch. If they can make a jump to something legit, in their eyes, legit. So we see Coraline and Monk. They go on a date. She tells him that she did read one of his books actually. And he was like, oh, okay, like cool. And she was like, yeah, it's very good. She liked this book. She said that he actually writes women very well. And so of course he's feeling himself as an author. That's got to feel good. People telling you you're doing a good job. I guess her telling him the book was good was enough because you see them post coitus, and so
That's why I was fucking putting my back on. I'm like, all right, that was quick. Goddamn.
I gotta get out of here.
Hey man, they grown. they like look. We ain't no pussyfooting around. I want you. You want me? Let's do it.
Yeah, pretty much. So he gets back to his mom's house, and the power's out, and the housekeeper's like, he's like, what happened? And he's like, Lisa, your sister, used to pay the bill, the electric bill. Did you? And he was like, ooh, forgot about that. My bad. So he calls his brother Cliff, who I guess is like in California, I think. And Cliff is at home doing coke, having a good old time. Coming to find out that their mother's potential nursing home will cost like $6,000 a month, which is insane. Hey, you're just gonna have to stay with me, Mama. That's crazy.
Nah, that's
a month.
As a person that's about to be a pallbearer to the matriarch of my family, during her decline, it was $4,000 a month.
God, that's insane.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like hospice care, right? Like, because she refused to, she was losing it, just like this woman, just like Leslie Uggams' character here. And yeah, that's a real ass quote. Like, so it's not, and she ain't no kids, so
Right, what the fuck?
So the family had to kind of figure something out, and yeah, man, I feel for you. I feel for him. I don't know if I would write my pathology.
You might have to, nigga. Like $5,600 a month. You might have to get out here and do a little soft shoe. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. Dire circumstances.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he submitted the book, right? He submitted the book, and it gets bought, and his agent is kind of fucked up, right? He's like, come sit down, right? Come sit down. We sold your book, and he's like, the smart book. He's like, no.
No, nigga. About
sold apology. And they're offering you a $750,000 advance.
I'll take it. We lives in the ghetto. You're right. Give me my money.
And of course he's like, nah, yo, like, I don't. He essentially, I don't want to sell out, right? And he's just like, nah, man, you're not selling out. You're buying in.
Yeah, look. In order to sell out, somebody got to buy in. Like, no, fuck that.
Whatever help you sleep at night. Look.
Sleep on
I'm an author, and I can
money.
write that nonsense, and I can write basically whatever the fuck I want, and that gives me a $750,000 advance or whatever. All right, whatever. It ain't my life.
You did
Somebody's life.
Are you doing it? Are you doing it one time, or can you keep the grift up? Because that's what it is. It's a grift.
It's a grift.
I know you can't do it. I know you can't do it. Right?
I couldn't, yo. I can't pretend to be stupid.
Couldn't do
it. Like, this shit bothers me, yo. Like if I could pull it off once, it'd be a miracle. But no. After that, there's no way. There's no way.
I remember
it would eat at me.
I think I remember. Do you remember me pitching this to you? I pitched a joke where we would, on an April Fool's episode of Look Forward, me and you, we would come as be black Republicans and just do the whole show from a black Republican point of view, and he just couldn't do it. He refused to do it. He wouldn't even entertain it, yo.
Yo, I no, and it's not. It's not that I have I stand on some sort of moral high ground. I don't. Trust me.
Sure
it's that I can't keep up the lie. I can't pretend to be stupid. I can't pretend to be stupid. Oh yeah, they definitely stole the election. I'd be like, yo, I can't. I'm sorry. They didn't. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't be able to do it. My brain just rejects it. No, I couldn't do it.
$750,000, and plus, it's probably going to be. It becomes a bestseller in a movie and all that other shit.
Again,
you don't have to show. Well, he did show his face eventually because
if I pulled it off once, and they were like, "We'll take it," I'm gonna take that money, 100%. But I don't think I could write a sequel.
Could you do another one?
Nah, I don't think so. Nah,
but here's the thing: you don't have to do another one. But here's the thing: you don't have to do another one. But you got to see it through. You got to see this one through. That's the thing. You can't see it through.
I can't see it through, yo. A movie, my nigga. A movie? Nah, yo. Come on, y'all go crazy. I go crazy.
You wouldn't even be able to be on the phone with these people. Now look, he's in the office with the with the agent.
The calls are fucking hilarious.
This is like Terrence said, this is the comedy of the movie. And the agent is like, look, they want to give you a $750,000 advance, but they want to talk to Stag R. Lee, right? They want to talk to you, and you got to play this character, right? Because they gotta know who they're giving their money to. And he reluctantly is like, all right, let's go. And they start talking to this woman, and all the white people are playing this just expertly, right? Yeah. And it's he says she says Mr. Lee, and he says, and Monk says, this is he, and I was like, wait,
you're like, nah, you can't say it.
Her face was like, what? When he first says it, and his fucking agent is like, what are you doing? It's like, oh,
boy, if you don't nigga this up a little bit, no, yeah, just me. Yeah, see, I couldn't do a fake voice. I couldn't do it, yo. I couldn't do it. Mm-mm.
I could.
I know you could.
That code switch, motherfucker.
Look, Mike could definitely do it because, as we've established, he'll tell people whatever they want to hear.
I am Mr. Duplicitous, man. I don't give a fuck. Give me that fucking money. I will lie.
Look, I got to tell you, this is 100%. I believe you. I've known you long enough. I 100% believe that. The part about him playing this fake character, Stag R. Lee, the only part of it that resonates with me of what I could do is the part at the end where he gives the speech of you're all assholes for even believing me. That's the part I'm like, that would be me. That's the part. I could do that. I could chastise people for believing these horrible things that only black people would write and all this stereotypical shit. That's what I could do. I could never pretend to be a hood dude or whatever. I just couldn't pull it off. There's no way. No. I couldn't. I want the money, but I just couldn't. I couldn't see it through. You're absolutely right about that. No way.
So they think that it's going to be the book of the summer, and
book of the summer,
and he's trying his best to kind of go along with it.
Now,
does it make
right,
this character a sellout?
Does it make him a sellout?
Yeah.
That's a good question, man. Yeah, a little bit. It does. It does, right? Because you are literally throwing away your integrity for money. Now, does he have a good reason? Because he's trying to pay for his mom's hospital bills or her adult daycare sort of bills. Yeah, there's a reason to do it. It's not just purely for money in that regard. It's for family. But at the same time, yeah, you're a bit of a sellout. I think so. Terrence?
Look, I don't disagree, but at the same time, it's a little complicated, right? He ain't
it's not easy.
He ain't Steven from Django, right? Like he's not, and he's not like some craven guy doing it because he's he's got a reason, but at the same time, like
we all got reasons. That's what a drug dealer is, Micah. How much to feed my family?
Right? Yeah, well, no, drug dealers just sell drugs because they just want money.
More money. What are your thoughts, Terrence?
All the money. I mean, I guess he ain't hurt nobody. It's just a book, right?
Yeah, and your pride,
it's just a
your
book.
integrity.
It's your pride, your integrity, your self-worth. Black people and the history and the pantheon of black literature.
These are called feelings.
Empathy, self-sacrifice. Terrence is like, I don't get it.
I'm a very empathetic person, but I can shut that shit off. The problem is not. It's
yo,
not
that's
the
a
fact
wild
that
statement, yo. No, that's a wild. You're not gonna gloss over. That's a wild statement. I'm empathetic as shit, but I can turn it off. That's a wild.
I can. I really can. Like I can turn that shit off really quickly if I have to. But I'm very empathetic to people's fucking flights and shit. I am.
Yeah, he is. You are. I agree. You are.
Like if I have to turn it off, I can. I don't. Shit doesn't linger with me. I just go, all right, whatever. So yeah, I could do it. Is it selling out? Again, it's just a book. It's just a book.
All right,
$750,000.
I mean, it's a lot of.
Do I like it? Like. Again, we have better stories that can be told. I can tell a better story, but that's not the stories that's making me money.
I mean, look.
But then again, like a bunch of white people.
See, there it is. That's it. That's
the problem.
That's the core of the film, right?
Yes,
you could sell that money to give the audience, right? The audience what they want, but at the same time, in your heart of hearts, that white people are reading that shit and going, they all like that.
This is it.
We live in the ghetto, right? And you're just like, what the fuck?
It's the language of the gutter, which that motherfucker
said.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I want to smack the shit out that nigga.
Yeah. Like Issa Rae was like, let's take a break. Like, all right, yo. Like,
all right, we need to fucking calm down right now because I'm about to punch this nigga in his face. But that's the type of shit where I'm thinking to myself, like, but this white people are gonna be like, yo, it's so poignant. This is the same shit that we always write, and it's the same shit that they love to see us in. That's my issue. I can still do it. Like, don't get it twisted.
I mean,
I still do it, but I would have a fucking serious issue. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I could do book signings. Well,
I wouldn't do book signings and movies and all that.
A book signing with a bunch of white people from the Midwest telling you how your great nigger stories are inspiring to them. Absolutely not. Yo. I'm not signing.
If I was going to do a book signing, if I had to do it, I would come dressed like Kanye West with like a fucking Balenciaga mask on or some shit like that, so they wouldn't see my face, and I wouldn't say a word. Fuck it, dressed in all black. With a black mask. Nah.
Get out.
They ain't got to know what I look like. Get out of here. So yeah, I'd do it.
To a point.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think I could. I don't think I could.
There is. I mean, look, we all could. There's just, where's your breaking point? Where's your ceiling? Your ceiling is like 2 feet from the ground, but
I'm a little higher than that.
Yeah, mine's is a little higher than that, but I can't.
I need to see.
Like, I don't know how people like Candace Owens and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
I don't know how
they can do that and just grift and like, you have no sense of community, none. I don't know.
But that's the crux of the issue, right? and that's what gets called out later, is this idea of like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can make a lot of money. Yeah, it's what quote unquote the market wants. But what about you, right? Because it's very easy to say, and I'm sure there are white people who watch this movie and miss the fucking point of it, right? And some black people too. Like, but it's very easy to just say, well, just worry about you. But that's not how we've survived in the country. We've literally, like, what is the James Baldwin line, to paraphrase it? He says it much more eloquently than I will. But he's like, if you turn your back on this country, you will die. And that's absolutely true. And the reason why black people survived is because of community. It doesn't mean you can't ever go, well, you can't step outside of it. You got to stay within the parameters, stay on the porch type of shit. It doesn't necessarily mean that, right? And some people do believe that. But what I always look at it is you always have to kind of consider, even if you don't want to, what your impact is on the community. You just have to. You have to. Like, it's fucking epigenetic for us, right? It is just born in us, and it is just a thing that we do socially. Is, you know, we pay attention to what we do and how it affects the community. And that's why people like Candace Owens seem very weird to me. Right? Like you're saying, you're like, I don't see how they can do it. I don't get it either. Like, you got a black mom, a black dad. Like, okay, they're conservative. They see you saying the wildest shit on TV, and they're like, yeah, no, that's cool. You don't got no black friends? You got no black friends who are just like, nah, yeah, that's fucked up. Like, she got interviewed by Joe Budden the other day. I saw a clip of it. And she's like, yo, I think, you know, black people, when it comes to sports, we are the best. When it comes to, you know, singing, we are the best. When we're the most creative and all this other stuff. And he goes, yeah, you know, like black excellence and all this other stuff. And he's like, yeah, people want to say that. And I'm reading the comments, and there's all these like black people like, that's why I've always fucked with Candace. She's always been saying that shit. I'm like, do you watch the other videos that she says the dirtiest shit about black people? Or you see one clip of a dumb motherfucker interviewing a grifting asshole. Like, you just believe whatever you see in the last 5 minutes? Like, it's fucking bizarre to me.
All it took was her to say like one positive thing about how like entertaining we are, and then like, she's cool.
That's
but
what
the 90% other shit that she says,
just dirty shit about black people.
How do you skip over that? I don't get it.
Because we're forgiving. Because we're forgiving.
The other way around.
Because we're forgiving.
Right? Like, it's really fucked up. It's usually the other way around. Like, if someone makes a mistake, but they're perfect, if they make one mistake out of 10 things that they've done, we always look at the mistake.
Yeah.
But like, she says one good thing out of 10 things, one good thing is like, and 9 of the other things is trash. They still fuck with it like that. I don't understand how that works. How does she get a pass? Some people.
Part of the grift is, I guarantee you, all of these comments are men, because part of the grift.
But most of them were.
Most of them are men, because part of the grift is placating to male ego.
That is right.
It's not hard. We are dumb. Like, you say it all the time. Women are crazy, men are stupid. Right? Like, we are dumb. The perfect example in this book. Your book's really good. You really know how to write women. Let's do it.
Yeah,
like,
I can't get this zipper down fast enough.
Like, that's all I need to hear. Like, you stroke my ego, bam, I'm ready. Right. And that's part of the grift, and she knows that, and she knows what to say to. That's how like sly people are. Like, she's not a dumb person. Most of these grifters aren't dumb, because you have to. There's a certain level there, but they're cagey and they're sly. They might not be intelligent, but they have a different type of smarts. They have a different type of street smarts that I think some people respect, or they just fall for the grift. I don't know, but yeah. No, but again, this idea, I think. The reason why it works for her, one, to Micah's point, right? It's sort of
going after black men, I think is very true. And she's not a bad looking person, so that also helps her, right? She needs a black woman to help her with her hair. That's what happens when you have too many white friends.
Yeah, I think lately she's taken heed to that. Her hair hasn't been as dry as it used to be.
Yeah,
Like,
I was like, yo,
what is going on?
that shit looked like a piece of fucking matzah on top of your head. Like that shit was dry as fuck. But I think the other reason why it works is for the reason I talked about a second ago, which is we are so focused on community and keeping our community together because that is literally what we're taught as little kids. And our history shows that even when you have somebody talking shit on us, but they are a part of the community, we are hoping and wishing that we can bring them back. And so if you say something positive, we're like, we latch on to that and go, all right, you come on back. Like we have that in us. I don't have that in us. In me, like, no. You say a bunch of dirty shit about black people, go fuck yourself. We're done. Here's a raft. Go out into the ocean by yourself. I don't give a shit about you. I truly do not. But there's a lot of black folks that want to always bring folks back into the fold. Nah, you got to do a lot more deeds than one. You're not going to make your name on black people helping you, by the way, and the NAACP and all of these other organizations helping you because you were discriminated against as a young black woman in college. That's true to her. And then
got $50,000.
She got $50,000 because she was being harassed by the son. Yeah, by the son of like the dean of her college, and all these other white people were treating her like dog shit. She used to be liberal, by the way. A lot of people don't fucking know that. She used to be incredibly liberal.
NAACP helped her get that money, and now look at her. How the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
It's just such a bizarre thing to me.
No, but it is bizarre. But here's the reason why it happened, most likely, right? Which is she was a very left-wing person. She ran a website that was like shitting on Donald Trump and everything else. And then she saw there was no money in it. And there was money in conservatism. She shut that website down, fucking did a couple twirls around, and came back, and suddenly she was super conservative. Yeah.
Isn't she under, what's his name? Ben Shapiro?
Yeah.
She's in his network, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she rolls with all those.
He's Jewish.
Yeah.
He's fucking
Orthodox. He's an Orthodox Jew. No, a lot of Orthodox Jews are pretty conservative, actually. Yeah. I mean, it's whatever the extreme version of any religion, they're all conservative.
Yeah, look what happened to you. That one day you left my house late. About the palatial ground floor.
Right. Them niggas called the cops on me.
Yeah, they were like, "Get out of here, buddy! Get out of here!" Yeah. But they were also, extreme. Like, I don't know if they're Hasidic, but they're definitely Orthodox. Yeah, she says. Owen says that African Americans have a victim mentality, often referring to the Democratic Party as a plantation. Because God forbid we think for ourselves, right? Black Lives Matter. Only matter to white liberals every 4 years ahead of the election, but you don't care about it ever. So I don't understand your argument. Black people, she says black people are government dependent. Again, these are just stereotypes. Yeah. Owens has argued that police brutality in the United States and instances of police killing black people are not sourced in racism. Okay. Again, Joe Budden, it's cool that you're out there fucking saying she cares about black folks and black excellence. This is the shit she really says when you niggas don't pay attention. Yeah. So no, fuck her. She also characterizes abortion as a tool for the extermination of black babies. Yeah, just some fucking general white horse
thing makes no sense because I always push back with they always talk about how we always we have too much sex and we having too many babies on welfare. But also at the same time, we're having all these abortions.
Because the abortions aren't for. They want us to have the abortions. They don't want
abortions aren't free. You know what I'm saying? So the people that they say are having abortions that are they cost money. Those people that are having children don't have the money for abortions.
Yeah.
So which one is it? Again, which one is it? Do we have too many children, or are we having too many abortions that's killing all of the black community? I don't fucking get it.
Black Americans are doing worse off economically today than they were in the 1950s under Jim Crow. That's a direct quote. Okay, cool. Did she say black people are good at dancing? Great. Fucking absolve her. This is why I don't like people listening to people who don't understand fucking politics and don't follow this shit, but all you do is pick a bullshit thing to focus on and go, oh, did you say something nice? Cool, glad. I'm glad I used my platform for good instead of challenging the person. Fucking coward.
Well, black folks say that, like, those black Republicans say that shit because of the nuclear family. Before, like, you know, the family stuck together, but, like, they couldn't vote.
Yeah,
you know,
congratulations.
They had to use different water fountains. What the fuck are you talking about? Dumb bitch?
Then
Anyway,
let's all put our money together, build a time machine, and send your ass back to Jim Crow and see how long you want to before you want to come back. Since it was so
you ain't passing nothing.
No,
you dark skinned. So like,
why don't we
throw
send
you like you better use that water fountain over there.
Yeah, you
on
can't.
The back
you wouldn't be able to use it with your husband. You can't even use the same water fountain with your husband. Okay?
No, you couldn't get married to your husband.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
fuck
you.
Yeah. But like again, if you're gonna have somebody interview Candace Owens, have somebody who actually pays attention to what she's doing. I'm just saying. I would say no offense at the end of that, but I mean it with all offense. It's fucking ridiculous. I really don't like her, guys.
She irritates me.
Yeah, she fucking pisses her off. Hair does look better, though, I will admit. So then at a certain point, a person walks onto a scene to see Monk. I thought it was Bookman from Good Times at first. I really did. I was like, oh, shit, he's still around? But it's this local security guard named Maynard. Seems like a lovely, lovely guy. They all knew him when they were growing up, and he said he hadn't seen him. He hadn't seen Monk since before his dad had passed away. And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing right now?" He's like, "Yeah, I write. I'm out there writing." And he's like, "Oh, you should write on NCIS." It's like, okay,
that was funny.
Like that show was very popular. But I mean, that's to the point of you should do the thing that's popular, not necessarily anything else.
He's like, I'm an author. What the fuck?
Like, I'm just saying, NCIS is fucking is popping, nigga. Like that's my shit. So Lorraine, the caretaker, comes outside and she sees Maynard, and they have a little they got a little moment. It's actually really adorable. And then Maynard leaves, and you're like, all right, Lorraine, you still look good, girl. I see you out there.
Monk is like, okay.
All right. And
I see.
Yeah, like Monk walks back to the house up to Lorraine, and he's like, he just starts laughing. He's like,
She ain't nothing funny. Like, yeah, it is.
She was like, ain't nothing to smile at.
I'm not blind.
I see your ass. But it was a cute moment. From there, we see Coraline and Monk there at her place. I guess she told him that she read his other book, so they're making out. And he hears all this. Monk hears all this screaming outside, and it's Lorraine, and she's like she can't find Monk's mother. She ran out the back door and she doesn't know where she is. Monk eventually finds his mom running on, walking on the beach, and she's sort of disoriented and thinks that his sister is out in the water. And so he has to kind of calm her down, and, he's like, I'll go look for her. Just come on back to the house. I hope I never have to see a parent suffer from dementia or Alzheimer's. No, thank you. Seems like the worst fucking possible situation, honestly.
Yeah.
So then Monk gets a phone call from this guy who runs this sort of literary award, and they're like, "Hey, we're trying to help with diversity and everything else. Can you be a judge for this?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm glad you called me. Since I'm the only person."
Out of all the black writers you could go to out of fear for being racist, I'm glad you called me. Like, oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Like, you're very welcome. Yeah,
just oblivious. Just again, all the white people in this movie knew the assignment. One would say they're not acting. That's how natural this feels.
They didn't get a script. They got an outline. It's like a fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm.
They were like, we got it. Don't even worry about it. Be obnoxious? Absolutely. Pretend that you're not listening. I already am. I'm already not listening. So he's like, look, I need you to, if you don't mind being on this literary panel, you'll also be on there with Sintara Golden. And he's like, oh, have you read her book? Or do you know her? He's like, yeah, vaguely. And so he basically, the way he coaxed him to be on the panel, he goes, you get to actually judge these other writers' work, publicly without having to do it privately.
Literally instead of figuratively.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in. So from there, Monk is set up with a meeting with this white director who wants to do the film rights for his book. And I love it. He was supposed to show up to the meeting looking like kind of hood or street. He just wore like jeans and a t-shirt. Like he didn't have anything else. Or they may even be like khakis, which is fucking hilarious. So he shows up to this meeting and he's doing his very best impression of like a hood dude who is running from the law, like is still on the run, and has done a 12-year bid. This guy believes.
This nigga says I'll have a shit on blonde.
See, that's me, yo. He couldn't keep it down, yo. He couldn't keep it down.
I don't know so many convicts that drink white wine. It's like, well.
Do you know many convicts? Like okay, fair enough. I thought he was gonna order something like Hennessy or some shit like that, which would have been hilarious in that fancy ass restaurant. So yeah, they have this meeting, and he's like, "All right, cool. Like, I definitely want to do this movie." And Monk had left his mom at his publisher's that was right across the street, and as he's talking to this guy, he sees an ambulance pull up with their lights and sirens going, and he just assumes it's about his mom. So he just leaves the meeting and just runs across the street. The director wants to now give him like $4 million for the movie rights because he was so impressed of how real it was, because he thought that Monk was running because he heard sirens, because he thought it was the cops. So he's like, oh, this guy's really authentic, right? Like every dumb thing he does, or every like perceived dumb thing he does, he gets rewarded for it by white people, which is also, message. So yeah, I just found that to be funny. So the writers, they all get together and they're like talking about the books, and they all agree that they're only going to read 100 pages of any of these books so they can get a sense of it, right? And I guess that's like a big argument back and forth, which I think is fucked up. You should have to read the whole book.
Like 10 books. That's a lot of books. That's a lot of reading.
Well,
how long is the process?
They should read faster than me. Well, I'm not a writer, so that sounds like a them problem. Then Monk has a call with the publishers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we think we can get Michael B. Jordan to be in the movie, and he'll be on the cover with a tank top and what's one of those scarves you guys wrap around your head?" And he was like, "A do-rag?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's got to have his muscles showing. Yeah, it's going to be great." And they're trying to rush the movie out so that it's out by Juneteenth. Like they're like really leaning into like every shitty thing. So Monk decides that he's gonna make a fucking power play here and says, "Yeah, I want to change the name of the book." And they're like, "We really like my pathology." And he's like, "Nah, I want to change the title to fuck." And if you don't accept it, the deal is off. And his agent is sitting there like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" He's like, nah, I'm putting an end to this. Surely they won't agree to that. And so they put him on hold, and then they go, you know what? We'll do it. It's fine. It's edgy. It's bold. It's fucked up. So yeah,
They were like, damn it.
like we just can't get out of this deal. These white people are wild. Back at his mom's house, he walks outside because he sees Cliff swimming in the pool, and he's like drinking beers and shit, and he starts yelling at him because he didn't know that Cliff was going to be there and swimming in the pool. He's scared his girlfriend, and so Cliff calls him an asshole and then pulls him in the pool, which was really great. And you kind of just get more about Cliff and just how he's this newly minted gay man out on the town. We skipped over the part where he was like, "I've taken a lover," and he was like, that line was
like,
so funny.
You've taken a lover?
He's
like,
like,
yeah. Like, I did. Like,
what's wrong with you,
homophobic? Like, no, I just don't like the fucking phrase "taking a lover," nigga.
He's like, well, I have. He's like, and I'm gonna take him right now. Fuck out of here, nigga. And just hung up the phone. Sterling K. Brown is very, very good in this role. I like him a lot. He's awesome. And it's cool to see him doing a variety of things like that other movie that we did where he was the pastor. He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
he was very good. That's two closeted. That's two closeted characters that he's played in a row, which is interesting.
He might fucking start a goddamn rumor about him. I can see it. The internet
100%. Yep,
just nonsense.
Yeah, it's like they're actors, right? I don't know. Are you guys aware of this? No. Okay, cool.
No, everybody thinks that you have to be the thing that you are portraying. Otherwise, what was
that's how it works,
the term? Yeah, appropriation. Yeah, you're appropriating that character. He's appropriating being a newly minted gay man.
That's how
you can only hire an actor who was straight, married, has some down low sex, got caught, got divorced, lost half of his medical practice, has 2 kids that are being made fun of. Only that person can apply to act in this role.
Yeah, so you have to find a former plastic surgeon who's now an actor. Okay, all right. One of the nip tuck guys, by the way. Also black, right? Like, it has to be all of those things. All of those things. I don't think you guys know how acting works. So they go to see their mom. She's been sedated because she tried to strike a nurse. She eventually gets up and she's dancing with Cliff, and it's a very nice, lovely moment. And then she looks at him and she's like, "I knew you weren't no queer." And he was just like,
"Oh,
cool,
damn.
I'm out of here." Like and Monk is like, she doesn't know what she's saying. He's like, "I gotta go," because I'm sure that's deeply hurtful, right?
Like, no, she knew what she was saying. Like, yeah,
you think she was cognizant in that moment?
Yeah, like, why wouldn't she say that? Like, why would she say that if she wasn't?
I mean, people who have dementia, shit like that, say all sorts of wild shit.
But like that specifically to him is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like,
it's fucked up.
It's fucked up that she said it, but like, I think that maybe her truth that she really doesn't want him to be gay. I mean,
yeah,
she's an old black lady, like old black woman, probably fairly conservative.
Probably,
very,
very conservative. Monk goes on the Kenya show as Stag Lee, like he's silhouetted, and they change his voice so he can go on there and promote his book, because he says that this character is on the run from the police. So
Right.
he's got to keep his ID hidden. So, like, he does a show, and they're like, oh, why'd you write the book? And he's like, yeah, it's not my story, but it's the story of being a black man in America, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh, my God, it's so true. Oh, my God, this is amazing, right? Meanwhile, the book is called Fuck, by the way. Like, that's legitimately what they renamed the book, which is insane. Monk comes
Isn't
home.
there a book out there called Fuck? Isn't there a book out there called Fuck?
I mean, there's books called, like, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Like, that's definitely a book. I wouldn't be surprised. So Monk comes back home. He's talking with Coraline, and he sees that she has a copy of Fuck, and he's like, "Where did you get this?" And she's like, "Oh, a friend got it before. Got this for me." And he basically is like, "Yeah, this is like bullshit, and why anybody would want to like eat this trash up like like the slop that it is and devour it is beyond me."
Yeah, this nigga is. I love this character because he's not like a good guy. He's a dickhead, Like
He's a fucking asshole.
He's a real human being, right? Like
I see a lot of myself in this character.
I do too. I mean, beard, pretentious. Like,
I have glasses. I'll put them on. I mean, look, there is a part of me that's like, I don't understand why people watch this shit or read this kind of fucking nonsense. But at the same time, like, I like a bit of trash. Like, I do. Everybody does. Like, you shouldn't be so pretentious that you can't enjoy a bit of fun. I want to see Anthony Mackie do great movies, but I also like when Anthony Mackie is yelling into a room, "Can anybody hear me?" Like, I want to watch that movie. Like, I want to watch that movie.
But that was supposed to be a good movie.
Was it?
I believe so, wasn't it?
Oh, it's supposed to be.
Maybe.
Okay. It did not achieve that.
Wasn't he an author in that movie too?
Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah, and RoboCop was his agent or some shit, right?
Peter Weller? That's weird.
I think he was.
What? Yeah, big ass fucking RoboCop head. Yeah,
I think he was.
Yeah, who was the what was it? What's his name? Forrest Whitaker is like who like captured. Yeah, it was like Black. It was like Black Misery. It was Blizzard.
Yeah. Blizzard, really.
That's what I'm going with. Shut up. So anyway, they have a conference call with all the judges for this literary contest, and they're like, "Well, we've been told to add fuck into it's just published, and we've been told to add that into our list." And they're like, I don't think, Monk is like, I don't think we should have this in the list. Like, obviously, he does not want it there. And they're like, well, no, I think we should bring it in. Everybody's talking about it's the hot book. And so he's like, he's outvoted. So now he's a judge as himself, and this book by his pen name is actually involved in the running, right? To win basically like book of the year. There's a moment where Cliff didn't remember about Maynard and Lorraine are getting married because they're old folks. Like, I like you, you like me, let's get married type shit, right? And so he had come to the house and he had like met some like young gay dudes and he's out there partying and everything else at the house, and he had forgotten that the wedding was that day. And Monk is like, yeah, you need to get the fuck out of here. Like, we're trying to have the wedding.
And Monk and his mom shows up, and they're like, she's like, "Am I wilding?" She's like, "No, this is not the Alzheimer's. There's two like naked niggas in the house." He's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Who are you?" Like, "Oh, we're Cliff's friends."
Like, yeah, y'all need to.
He must be Monk. Yeah. Cliff said his brother was a tight ass. Like,
It's like, nah. I'm like, I'd be like, who the fuck are you niggas?
Yeah,
I feel like anybody would be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Like,
Kind of weird
I
shit.
come into my house and there's two random dudes in Speedos in the kitchen, like cooking eggs. What are you doing? It's weird.
Yeah. I don't think that's being a tight ass. I think that's being like, yo, I'm about to beat your ass if you don't get the fuck out of my goddamn house.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So basically, Monk is like, look, you need to leave. You need to get out of here. And Maynard is like, no. Maynard and Lorraine are like, no, you stay for the wedding. And they're basically like, look, you're family. Like, that's it. Like, we love you. All right, you wildin', whatever, but we still love you. And not wildin' because he's gay, wildin' because, like, you just got a bunch of random dudes in your house. Like, y'all niggas in board shorts and Speedos cooking eggs. This shit is weird. But they're like, no, you're family, and you always will be family. Again, that's black people. Though some black people, maybe not so much because the character is gay.
And Maynard is like, it's always easier dealing with people that family that ain't yours. And Monk is like, you about to get married. We about to be your family, nigga. So,
like,
good luck.
like, whether you like it or not, in about 12 minutes, shit's about to change for you. Which was great. They have the wedding. Lorraine throws the bouquet, and Cliff dives for it. He dives and catches it. And he's very happy that he caught it because he wants to be married again. But to a person that he actually wants to spend the rest of his life with, even though he seems like kind of a party boy. There's a moment, I think it's this one. Oh yeah, where Cliff and Monk have this conversation, and he goes, "Yeah, Dad died before I came out, and that's kind of a bummer." And Monk is like, "Yeah, but what if he like rejected you?" And Cliff gives her what I think is a really, really good line, and it's indicative of the whole story, which is, I'd rather he reject the entirety of me than basically be cool with this fake version of myself, right? Message. Mm-hmm. But I thought that line is well written, but also well delivered, like really well delivered. And he goes, yeah, him not knowing the entirety of me makes me really sad. Which is, I've never thought about that from the perspective of like a gay person who's not out of the closet, like losing a parent and then them not actually seeing you be your full, potentially who you truly are. Especially if you were sort of closeted and, had to pretend to be straight and everything else. Like that's a fascinating perspective that I had never thought about. Back at the literary judge team, they score the 10 books. They get all the way to the top 3, and the white guy says, "Oh, this is like language of the gutter and all this other shit." And they start kind of having this light argument. And so the one white guy's like, "Why don't we just take a break before everybody flips out?" And Monk comes back in the room later on, and Issa Rae is there reading a book called White Negroes. And I need to find out if that's a real book and what it's about. I'd be very interested.
I looked it up. It's a real book.
It is a real book?
It's a real book.
Yeah? What is it about? Do you know?
I looked it up earlier.
All right. Well,
White Negroes and cornrows were in vogue, and Other Thoughts on Cultural Appropriation came out in November 12th of 2019. So it's a fairly new book.
That actually sounds like a pretty interesting book, to be honest.
I might read it. I might, listen to it.
There's
because when I saw it, I was like, "Is that real?" And I Googled it and went over.
Just checking. But again, even that's there for a purpose, right? It's like the We Hate Niggas Network, right? Like even the idea of cultural appropriation is a topic she's reading about, right? So Monk goes, "Hey, it's just the two of them," and he's like, "Hey, let me ask you a question. What about?" Because she didn't like fuck. She
doesn't like fuck.
Yeah, she thought it was empty and like kind of soulless and everything else. And he goes, "What did you not like about it?" And so she tells him, and then this is a bold move, man. Like this is a super bold move that he pulls because he's an asshole. Like he is.
Fucking dickhead, man.
Like even I wouldn't have done this. Like Jesus Christ. He says, I read some of your book, Weeze Lives in the Ghetto, and how is it any different than this book that you say you don't like? Like he didn't even hesitate throwing the shit out there. He was just like, let me just lob this fucking meatball right to you. And she's like, the fuck? Like, yo, what are you talking about? And she goes, I did a lot of research for this, and this is not my voice. This is the voice of other people. And so she basically gives this whole speech about how, she's not necessarily writing anything that is outside of the market. Like it's what the market kind of wants. That's why she kind of wrote it, and to give a voice to these people that would otherwise maybe not get a voice. And then Monk pushes back and says, like, that's the argument drug dealers make, is that they're just giving the product that the market desires, meanwhile destroying their own communities, right? Which is the implication. What did you guys think of this conversation?
Like you said, it's kind of the culmination of what this movie is. At least the B story to it. Mm-hmm. I thought this was interesting. I thought it was something that Black creatives, I feel, have to wrestle with all the time, right? Like, but I think both of them are right, and I think both of them are wrong. Yeah, and that's the best type of and that's the best type of like conversation to be like a fly on the wall at, I thought it was great.
Terrence, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, what he said. There is no right answer, right? Because the story that she's telling is a true story to somebody. I don't like. He said he didn't read the book. He never read the book. He just read excerpts from the book, and he's like, well, right. I don't see how what you wrote is any different than I did. Like, but he hasn't read the entire book, so he doesn't exactly know. He just knows that excerpt she wrote is just a bunch of, it's like old. It's like they sound like fucking slaves. Keep it at 100. Or what we think slaves sound like, because we weren't alive then, so we don't necessarily. We can just go by like how Black folks were written in like the 30s and shit like that. Right. But neither one of them are right or wrong. It's just the balance that we talked about earlier. All right. She wrote this as her first book, but why is that the first book that you wrote? Because that's what people are going to read. Right. She says in the beginning, why aren't our voices heard? But they are. Like the book that you wrote, this is the voice that they hear. Yeah. All the time. You say there are no Black voices in literature, but like this is the Black voice in literature that is always heard, that gets the bestsellers, that white people read and say, "Oh, this is fucking poignant" or whatever bullshit like that. And he's like, "Yeah, but we can be better than this." I'm like, is it being better? Is writing his books any better than what she's writing in the long run? I mean, she has a line that I thought was really, really good, which is he says, "I just believe that there is so much more potential for Black people," and she was like, "Potential is a word that you use when you see something in front of you that you don't think is good enough," and that's how the conversation ends. And I was like, that's kind of and then the white people interrupt the fucking.
What are we talking about?
As they are what to do. They interrupt Black folks' business. You know what I'm saying? Guys, but yeah, it was a dope conversation. But again, like he's like, yo, I'm above this. He thinks he's above her writing. He thinks he's above the writing that he wrote. Like his book is called "Fuck." It seems ridiculous from what the excerpt that we were privy to when he was in there writing in the beginning is very funny.
But it's
but
nuts.
like it's insane. But like I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that a situation like that has happened.
Of course.
I'm sure it has happened. So it's not as nuts as it is. It's true. It's true to someone's life. And like, are you above that? That's someone's lived experience, possibly not yours, but because you grew up in a well-to-do family, you think like his whole thing is I'm above all of this because I grew up in a pretty well-to-do family, so I didn't have to deal with any of that shit. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I do. I'm lying. I do think I'm better than some people, but like in the grand scheme of things, I don't necessarily.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Like the thing is, like if someone grew up in like Baltimore City, right? Some of these niggas, like Baltimore's an interesting fucking county city. Interesting. I think Baltimore's like the only state that's got like a Baltimore County and a city. Is there any other country? Is there any other state that has like a city and a like?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
New York City,
Los
New York
Angeles.
County. It's fucking weird. Is there a Los Angeles
LA,
County?
yeah, there's LA County, but
LA
I think
County
that.
and-
But isn't that like a part of LA? Like I think so.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just fucking weird. But like if someone in Baltimore City, which is 5 minutes away from Baltimore County, by the way, that's the funny thing about it. Like could have grown up like that. I didn't grow up like that, but I don't think I'm better than them.
Right.
Like in the long run, they just grew up in weirder, in like more harsher circumstances than I did. And I think him growing up with money, because his father was a fucking gynecologist, that we forgot that part that his father cheated on his mom.
Of course.
He was a
With a white
and
woman.
like with a white woman, which is so his life isn't that much different than someone that grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
they had money, and I think that's the other thing that this movie tries to like. Hey, we have money, but we still have the same
Still got the
life.
same
It's
problems.
we still got the same fucking problems, right? So I didn't really like her fucking. Honestly, I didn't really like her stance. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm like, how much research did you have to do for your book?
Right. Like what she's
Technically.
she's a conundrum, right? Because she is as educated as he is. She's writing this book, but it's not her story, right? It's not her voice. She doesn't talk like that. So it feels weird. It feels very weird for her to be writing it, right? And I wish they kind of addressed that, like, but aren't you an interloper? Like you're pretending, like you're putting on, like again, when you go back and listen to her read that excerpt, even the internal dialogue of the book, the structure of the book, is written sort of in this like ebonics or whatever the hell you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
So
what is it, AAVE or AIEV?
Right.
What do they call it now?
AAVE, African American Vernacular something.
English.
English. Oh, it's all up here. Nailed it.
I have a fucking computer sitting right in front of me. Let me go ahead and look at it.
I have access to all the world's knowledge. So, like, even the structure is written in a way
Oh, it is English.
as I'm saying.
Those lied? What the fuck?
Yeah, it just sounds ridiculous. African American vernacular English. It sounds stupid.
Yeah, it
Why
is
does he
stupid. It sounds like some bullshit that white people made up. Because black people don't call ourselves African American, we call ourselves black.
So it should be BVE.
Yeah, BV.
No, it should just be
that
the way
sounds
niggas
terrible.
talk.
The way niggas talk.
That's it. Like that's it. This is the way black people talk.
Like,
I don't know,
niggas
man.
talk all kinds of
I don't
ways.
know that the way niggas talk really hits the ear quite right, but whatever. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I could write a book, guys.
yeah, look.
That sounds like the perfect title for fuck 2, the way niggas talk.
I'd see it. Let me know when the movie rights get bought. I'll see it. But yeah, their conversation is very, very good. But that idea of, do you do these things even though you know that it could possibly damage the perception of us, right? Because she says nobody calls out, these white writers who write about, the sort of issues in the white community, these sort of narrative stories. Nobody, I think she said like Brett Ellis or whatever, I think, who wrote American Psycho.
Yeah, I didn't look up those.
I think Brett Ellis is the one who wrote American Psycho, right? Which is about like overconsumption of like the Reagan era and just like white douchebag behavior, right? And so like she's like, they don't read those books and say, hey, that's indicative of all white culture. And he goes, yeah, but because that's not how America works, basically. Like when people write and do movies about us, it does throw that blanket on top of all black people. Like we don't necessarily want that, but that is what happens. And you have to be aware of that, right? Which is a very valid point. Which is why I don't really like Tyler Perry shit. Because he's the most known black director by far in the U.S. And he's one of the worst.
That is true. Again,
I mean, when you ask white people, name a black director, I guarantee you Tyler Perry is in the top 2 that they name.
It's Spike Lee and Tyler Perry.
Yeah. And they might not even remember Spike Lee, to be honest. But they definitely will remember Tyler Perry. And that doesn't mean that he's a better director, obviously. He's just a bigger name. So
yeah,
it was a really, really good scene. I liked it. I wish there was more of that scene, honestly. But she also makes a good point, and I want to end the point here. She also calls him out because he's like, well, that's how, white people are going to see us, based on, like books like yours and stuff like that. She goes, it sounds like you have a problem with white people. Yeah. And that's true.
And that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem is white people.
Yeah.
They're the cause of a lot of issues in this world, guys. White people are a fucking problem.
And like, that's not us being racist. That's us being like historians.
You're right. Like historically, just Google it. Just Google white people bad and just see what comes up. White people bad history. There you go. It'd be a million Wikipedia entries. So she basically tells him to like go fuck himself. And then the white woman walks in. Hey, what are we talking about? And then of course it has to end there. Yeah. So then they all come back in and they're like, all right. So I think fuck should be the number 1 book. I think fuck should win. And the 2 black people were like, I don't think so. And then they cut to like a wide shot scene of the white people going, well, it's 3 of us to the 2 of you. And I think it's really important to listen to black voices right now. They're just like,
it took me like 2 seconds to just burst out laughing. Because I heard what she said and it didn't register instantly. And then like 2, 3 seconds later, I just burst out laughing. Wow. It's like so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's great because the white people are sitting on one side of the table and the black people are sitting on the other side of the table. Like, I think it's really important we listen to black voices right now. Ignore what the fuck they said. Yeah, that was just really, really well done. So smash cut to the literary awards. Everyone is there. Everyone that's cool. And they announced that Stag Lee, or Stag R. Lee, has won for the book Fuck. And they're like, oh, well, we don't know if he's going to show up. And Monk walks up and he's like, yeah, excuse me. And then he just takes the award. And he goes to speak in the mic and then it just fucking fades to black. And then you come back to that white director that he was talking to earlier, and clearly it's him telling the story to this guy, right? And so he's like, fade to black, like that ending sucks. Like it's too much ambiguity. And Monk is like, oh, let people kind of come up with their own whatever they think. I didn't want to give some corny browbeating speech and everything else. He's like, all right, no, we got to come up with a better ending than that. And so then Monk comes up with the romantic comedy ending where he goes to Lorraine, who he insulted when he said that she reads a bunch of bullshit.
Caroline.
And Coraline.
Coraline.
Which is a weird name for a black woman. But so he like they run the scene again, and he gets up and he just runs out, and he runs to Coraline's house, and he's like, apologizing and everything else, and I love you, and then it's this sappy fucking romantic comedy ending. And so they're like, nah, like that doesn't work either. And so cuts back and he's like, all right, I got one more idea. And so he's like, they run the scene again. He goes up to accept the award, and just as he's about to give his big speech, the FBI and the police break in, and they're like, like freeze. They got all their guns drawn, and he's like, I'm just a writer. I'm a writer. Like,
we're looking for Stag Arn Lee, the fugitive. The made-up fugitive that like nobody has ever heard of before, right?
Right. And so he's like, "No, I'm just a writer," and they just start opening fire on him and shoot him dead right there, and he dies with the award in his hand. And it's like they do the camera shot from above with it like kind of spinning out, and then it cuts back to the director, and he's like, that's fucking perfect. That's a perfect ending. I love it. Like, that's the ending. Like, that's what we're doing. And so he's like, okay, like, just fucking all right. And then so he walks out of the studio, and he gets in the car, and his brother is there. And the sort of the last final scene is he looks over there on a movie lot. He looks over and he sees a black man dressed as a slave, who's clearly playing a slave in some movie. And he just kind of gives him the peace sign, and the head nod, like, yeah, like you deserve to be here too. Like, as much as basically as much as I may disagree that there's too many of those movies, those stories have to be told too. And then they drive off, and that's the end.
He's on the set of a Plantation Annihilation. That's the other movie this fucking producers doing.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Where these white people go to a plantation and the ghost of all the slaves come back to life and kill all the white people. Okay.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, it
sounds hilarious. Yes.
He asked his brother at the end. His brother asked him. Cliff asked him, "Hey, are they going to make your movie?" He's like, "Unfortunately, they are." He's like, "Well, who are they going to get to play me? Like, are they going to get somebody handsome enough to play me?" He's like, "I think they already did." He's like, "Who?" Tyler Perry. He's like, "Oh, fuck off."
Which is a nice fuck you at the end. I mean, it's a little bit like, is he calling Tyler Perry gay as well? Like, was that kind of a double shot?
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I'd love to know what Tyler Perry thinks of this movie. My guess is he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, he probably
too busy filming Mea Culpa in 3 weeks, and whatever fucking BET Plus shows he's got to fucking direct.
Well, he's got to direct
a whole season in 2 weeks. Like, that's the problem. But
yeah. Do you guys agree with this headline? American fiction is the latest in a tradition of satirizing black selling out. That doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like an appropriate article title. I don't think it's satirizing black people selling out. I think it's more like, I don't know. Like, it feels like juvenilely accurate, if that makes sense.
But I mean, it kind of
misses the point, it feels like.
I mean, the movie is a satire. This character, we had a whole discussion about whether or not this character is selling out. To an extent, he is. To an extent, Issa Rae's character is, right? I get where the headline's coming from, but it's a headline, right? The person who wrote the article probably didn't write the headline, and B, headlines are supposed to do what they just did for you.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm gonna read that. Like, yeah. No, I just
most people are like, what the fuck, and then they write a think piece having not read the article.
Well, I mean, that's what you do.
Right.
Have time to read it. But that was from NPR. But I think this is a much better headline. American Fiction Review. Jeffrey Wright takes on narrow ideas of black representation in sharp industry satire. See, that to me, that is a better summation of the story, because it's actually it's satirizing, not necessarily selling out, but it's satirizing the world of media, right? And how it sees black people. But it's just, I was just curious as to what you guys thought of that. Any other parting words before we get out of here?
I think the movie is very good. I wish there was a little more. I like the family dynamic, but I also like the comedic aspects and making fun of like the obliviousness of well-to-do white people. I needed more than that. I needed more of that. That was great. But no, I needed more. I needed more. Conversation between us. We need to have these conversations more. The conversations that Jeffrey Wright's character and Issa Rae's character had at the end. I think we need to have more of that. I think the lesson here is that we can make anything, but we should also make everything.
Agreed.
Right? Like we can do, our stories need to be told, our history needs to be told, because Lord knows they're trying to ban it in schools, right? So and even if they weren't, like, people don't read, like they don't. So we need like literature and movies and stuff to tell our stories, but we also need to tell other stuff, right? We need to make Westerns. We need to make science fiction. We need to tell
some science fiction, dude. Come on, Jesus Christ.
We need, we can do anything, and we need to do everything. Is what I'll leave this with.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have anything else, but I thought this was a very good conversation on screen and here. I thought it was good between the three of us. Terrence, you have anything?
Nope. Good movie.
Nope. All right. We will see you guys next week for another preview episode. Later, guys.
See ya.
Bye. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.